Ciao everybody, welcome back to the Bianconerizone. It's a live show, a live preview of match day 19 in Serie A. Who actually cares? Who actually cares right now that we have a match day tomorrow? The people that I guess enjoy the sport. The people who want to probably see young players play and grow that are on the team. The future of the team on the pitch. Who actually wants to watch this game tomorrow and does it? And I know that it's very fresh and not as many people are watching right now. Obviously, like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. I'm Julian, by the way, if you don't know me already. What's the point of watching tomorrow? What is the point? If people who are going to continually watch the show today, if they're listening right now, watching the playback, get into the comments below. Why are you watching the game tomorrow? My dog is barking. He's not watching the game tomorrow. Why are you watching the game tomorrow? That's my biggest question. Match day 19. Obviously, this comes on the news yesterday of the 15-point deduction from the FIGC handed to Juventus for falsifying capital gains on the balance books. So, yesterday, when we woke up in the morning, Juventus was at 37 points, third place in Serie A. Probably going to get top four quite easily, to be honest. Not stylistically how we play, but the results that we get with Allegri, it was pretty obvious we were going to get top four. Title challenge, that was gone and swept away last week after we got dusted by Napoli, bent over, all that stuff we saw. I'm probably going to talk obviously more about the scandal, the point deduction, the accusations, more than I'm going to talk about Juventus and Atalanta. I will get to Atalanta and I will get to the match tomorrow and who's potentially starting, all that stuff. But there's some things that yesterday Alejandro and I did an emergency live and we didn't know much. I didn't really want to go on here and start yelling and screaming because I didn't know exactly what was going on. I had an idea. Then I had more time to sit back and I went to go coach after the live show. Justin, that's hilarious, by the way. I don't know if I was going to shout that out, but Justin's potentially having a kid tonight or today. So good for you, Ja. I hope everything's going well so far. I hope I'm not too annoying while your wife is in labor. So, yeah. But, yeah. After I went coaching last night, I was thinking on the car ride to my coaching, and I was thinking, where does 15 points come from? Where does 15 points come from? I know we were earlier in the day, it was 9 points plus a financial penalty. Along with 8 other clubs or 7 other clubs. I don't really care who. I think the biggest club after us was Genoa. Where does 15 points come from? A fun fact, during the match-fixing scandal in 2006, Milan, who bribed referees, along with Juventus, along with other teams, don't get me into that because on Juventus Twitter today, people were telling me Juventus had nothing to do with 2006. Oh, it was a farce. Let's be honest, people. Everyone in Italy was cheating. The penalty assessed to us was the harshest. That's what the big issue is. And similar to this situation, this scandal, the penalty to us is the harshest. That was my issue with yesterday and today and whatever's going to happen in the future. The penalty. Not that FIGC is looking out to get only us. Because we did do a mistake. Juventus Football Club they did something wrong. They falsified their accounts. Their salary wasn't all accounted for. And, what's it called? The capital gains doesn't look good. Sorry, let me have a sip. I'm a little sick as well. And I'm also going to let my dog out, so give me 1 second. So yeah. So we falsified accounts. We're getting tried on from UEFA, FIFA, and FIGC. This first initial trial or whatever, this first initial accusation is going to go to Coney. And we're going to go to Coney and trying to rescind the decision. The 15-point penalty. That doesn't stop here, though. There's much more bad things to come. If we're going to be realists. In the future, UEFA is going to come at us for FFP. A couple months from now. And we're also going to get looked at for our salary accounting. So we're lucky if it's just 15 points. There could be transfer bans added on with the 15 points. There could be financial bans. There could be European competition bans. This is just a start. But if we get our decision rescinded with Coney, at least the 15 points are back. But the other stuff is to come. This isn't even the worst part of it yet, I don't think. But we'll stay tuned for that. So what I wanted to say was... Oh, hold on, I dropped my phone. What I wanted to say was, back in 2006, Milan got a 15-point penalty for match fixing. They got a 15-point penalty for doing stuff on the field, for manipulating results on the field. Which is fine. That makes sense. 15 points. Why do we get the exact same penalty for putting stuff in our accounting wrong? What does that have to do with on the field stuff? And then someone on Twitter today came at me and said, well, it has to do with the competition because you're outpaying all the competition. No, that's not true. Our team got worse over the time span since we've been falsifying the accounts. If that's what we're getting accused for, which that's what we are getting accused for. For falsifying the accounts is why we're getting docked 15 points. How is that the same penalty as Milan's match fixing? That is my biggest gripe right now. Not that they are coming for us. It's the penalty. It doesn't make sense. But like I said, there's more to come. I see people in the comments. They're saying we're gonna watch. Gravouge says I expect the referee to be unfair. We'll get to that. Andrew Finnan says sports so dead it's laughable. I think the league itself is dead. Actually, you know what? The sport is kind of dead. You look at the Premier League, infinite money. You look at La Liga, Barcelona literally sold their soul just to stay afloat and sign better players. And La Liga said, hey, yeah, go ahead. That's okay. PSG, they're run by a country, a state. And they could do whatever they want. So La Liga 1 does nothing about it. Bundesliga, monopoly there. With Bayern Munich signing all the best players. And then there's Serie A, where you can't even fill up a stadium. The sport is great. The way it's authorized, or like the way it's run, is horrible. It's horrible. I saw today that Tottenham are about to sign Nicolo Zaniolo. That one's for you, Justin. You in the hospital right now. That one's for you. Tottenham are about to sign Nicolo Zaniolo. Paratici is heading that deal. Yesterday he gets a fine or a ban for 2.5 years. But he's about to sign another player from the league he was banned in. I don't know, nothing makes sense to me, but it is what it is. Haneen's saying she's still going to watch to see Juve like usual. We weren't playing for anything worthwhile before anyway. Well, that's not true. Last Friday we were playing for a chance to get a little bit closer to a title challenge. Now it's just like we're 10th. Dominique saying I'm still fuming. I can't get over it. Yeah, it's not a good situation. Ray 85 ABC. I will watch Juve because I love Juve. For sure. Still watch. But like, why are we watching? Because you love Juventus? Okay. Fair. Like, if they lose tomorrow, like Alejandro said this yesterday, if they lose tomorrow, do you care? If they win tomorrow, do you care? I don't know. Do you? Hamad saying, yeah, I think this time they are going to go all in against us, the transfer ban, UEFA ban, etc. Yeah, I agree. VP Basmag says, Civil Court deemed Juventus' 2006 season as regular. We were actually never found guilty of match fixing. Sport Court refuses to reopen the case despite the court or decision from the Civil Court. We have to let it go. We have to let 2006 go. Like, let it go. And then Rick Ozzie, regular, saying Italy has so much corruption and Serie A died in 2006. Yeah, it was on the cusp of its downfall after, obviously, the scandal. Like, obviously, Milan won the Champions League in 2007. Inter won in 2010. Juventus got there a couple times, lost. But it was not a good league. From, like, 2010 onward, the league was shit. Even when we won all those titles. Like, there was Napoli who contended a couple times, Roma the odd time. But it was shit in general. And it's still shit. Like, the league right now is shit. The quality, there's some good players. No, don't get me wrong. But the league in general, it's just bad. You can tell me, yeah, Napoli beat Liverpool 4-1. Everyone's beating Liverpool 4-1. Brighton beat Liverpool 3-0 last week. Is Brighton as good as Napoli? Maybe. So, I don't care that Napoli beat Liverpool 4-1. The league is shit. Edgar saying the moment we pushed for the Super League, FIGC and UEFA had us in their crosshairs. So, decent point. I want to get to that because not even a month and a half ago, Gravina, the FIGC guy who runs the league, he said that, or he was making the allegations, he wasn't bigging up the allegations. He was like, yeah, Juventus are going to pay for this or whatever. He said, nah, we'll see what happens. The Urbano Cairo, the guy who runs Torino, the president, and Lotito, Lazio's president, they literally said, we have to see what happens because usually those two guys hate Juventus and they'll do anything to make Juventus fall or make them look as bad compared to what, like, hold them to a bad regard. So back, not even 2 months ago, those guys were saying, well, we'll have to see what happens. They were not cussing out Juventus. So me thinking, that's weird. Juventus must, like, the whole league is either doing this, and the whole league is doing what Juventus did. Maybe not to the same extent, but they probably, those clubs in particular probably did because they were asked about it and they were hush-hush. The league is shit. Divij, Aurora saying, I watched Serie A and EPL. Serie A stadiums look dull. Commentary is shite. Even pitch doesn't look up to standard. And EPL on TV looks so nice. Yeah. Yeah, if you go look, like the San Siro pitch in itself is horrible too. That's probably one of the most historic stadiums ever. Misak saying, I want to see Junior on the left. To be honest, I love Kostic, but let Sammy ball. And Misak brings up a good thing. We will get to... I'll ask a couple more questions about the season. And tomorrow in particular about Atalanta. But what do we do now? Like, if we're 22 points, and this is another thing. How do you take the points away right now? January 20th. How do you take away the points already? But they can be appealed and possibly given back. How does a competition go forward without knowing how many points you actually have? It should have been left at 37. Play out the rest of the season, and right after match day 38, if you have a concrete answer of what the issue or what the penalty is, then 15 points, whatever. But to take away the 15 points yesterday and potentially give them back in late February, early March, whatever 40 days is, because again, 10 days after yesterday's decision, they're going to let us know what happened, and in 30 days they can appeal. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? What is that? Obviously, you know what Juventus did if you penalized them yesterday. Just say what happened. Why? Why do you have to? Why is it revealed in 10 days? Are they doing it right now on Microsoft Office? On Microsoft Word? They're creating the document saying Juventus did this. I don't get it. I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories because I don't care about those. It is what it is. I saw people yesterday saying, hey, we should move to Ligue 1. Oh, that's great. Juventus in Torino, Italy is going to play in Ligue 1. I get it. I get why people want to do that, but like, what's the point? Dominic saying, I would use the remaining league games as training sessions and put everything on the Europa League. As a club, I would now stop all marketing of the league. No press conferences, no player interviews. I mean, you can do that if you're petty and... I don't know. I get where that's coming from. I get it. Rick Ossie saying, out of all the companies in Exor, Juventus is the only company that loses money. Yeah, exactly. And they had to cover it up. Not cover it up. They had to show FIGC, UEFA, FIFA that they're making money, or they're at least covering some debts. But Rick Ossie is completely right. Lazio Juve saying, I have a question for you. Why are you doing this live then? What kind of questions is that, man? It's Juventus, and no matter what, I will still watch it. Winning or losing, no matter what. I'm doing... Dude, I'm going to watch tomorrow. But why are we watching? I'm asking you the question. I'm not asking me the question. I'm watching because I'm going to watch Juventus tomorrow. That's what I do. I like to watch Juventus. Could be different for other people. I asked you the question. King Saya saying, time to move Juventus to England. We're not named after a city, so it would work. I don't think that matters. I just kind of talked about that. Edgar saying, if Juve did false accounting, especially on transfers by overvaluing players, then the selling team or buying team is also culpable. Why only Juve? It's a great question. Well, for the ones that deal with Arthur and Pjanic, Barcelona will not get charged by FIGC because it's in a different league. Same with Man City, with Danilo and Cancelo. But, to your point, Juventus may have falsified their accounts on the Roma deal with Spinazzola and Pellegrini. Roma may have entered the correct information. We didn't. That's where the issue lies. To be honest, the FIGC could have pulled Roma's info on the deal and saw that they did it right and Juventus did it wrong. That could have happened easily. You think Roma didn't want to have the chance to do that? To put us down one last time? Yeah, of course. My issue, one of the issues is about, and I'll do a whataboutism. I'll do one of those. Like Atalanta. I have an issue with how Atalanta works. But again, I'm not looking into their numbers because how do you access Atalanta's numbers? They're not a publicly traded company. They don't have all that, or they're not a big club or big enough club to get into their financials. So, and I don't like to do whataboutisms. How about saying Agnelli pushed for the Super League a bit too much, acting tough against UEFA when you don't have much support from others is stupid. Well, to be fair to Agnelli, he thought he had the support. He literally had 12 teams, and that's why they announced the Super League. They had 12 teams. It was signed. It was announced by all 12 teams that one April afternoon in 2021. All 12 teams announced it, and then the Premier League teams bitched out not even 48 hours later. So he did have the support. He just got, I'm not going to say betrayed. The Premier League teams did what they did. And then the two other Italian teams bitched out and Atletico. So, I'm not going to blame Agnelli for that one. And he is right, to be honest. Rick Ossie saying Napoli Stadium is growing weeds around the outside. It looks like a corn. Looks like corn is growing. Too funny. Aldo says, how is the Danilo Cancelo deal at all suspicious? They have both performed well above their transfer fees. At the time, it was shady. But again, the transfer fees for those players can be shady, but it is what it is. Like 65 mil for Cancelo. Yeah, a little bit high for what he was at Juventus. But Man City agreed to pay 65 mil. So Juventus got 65 million for Cancelo. On the flip side, Danilo from Man City to Juventus, 37 million euros. Was that high? Absolutely. But did Juventus agree to pay 37 million euros? Yes. That's not the issue here. The issue is how they reported it on their accounts. How they used it to cover lot or debts or whatever the issue was. The Spinazzola, Pellegrini, 37 million, 22 million, that is not the issue. You cannot get in trouble for paying an amount that is agreed upon between two parties. You cannot get in trouble for that. That's never, people think that's the issue. That is not the issue. It's how we report it on our balance sheet. I don't know who did it. Those guys are fired now or they're banned or whatever. For good reason. And we are where we are now. Rick Ross is saying, it's love. I will never leave my old lady. She's special. It all starts from the top. And Andrea Agnelli has done this worrying about logos and futures, but hurting the fans is so sad. That's the issue. That's the issue here. It's the people that got banned that are now, that have done the harm to the club. Whether that's, I don't know, like, obviously, Agnelli doesn't he doesn't do the data entry for the finances. That's not his job. But he signs off on it. So whoever was leading the finances at Juventus, they're the main culprits, and Agnelli is the head of that. So he did what he did. Aldo saying, then why the big fuss about comparing players' value on transfer market? Okay, so that was before. That was the issue before when they brought it up, and that was dismissed. The reason why we got banned, we got points deducted was because they found new evidence of falsified accounts. That's why everything happened yesterday, because there was new evidence. Not because of the transfer market BS that they used before, which was quickly denied or sent to the curb. That's what happened here. So Edgar saying, so we reported Spinazzola sale for more cash than we actually received. That is silly. Cooking the book of books. Very silly. Juventus need to be smart. Yeah. And that, yes, absolutely. Just be true. If they were just honest the whole time about the finances, I'm sure Daddy Elkin could have subsidized us from Exor with even more money. They gave us money anyway. They gave us 300 million anyway to cover more debts. If you just reported all your transfers and the incoming money correctly from transfers, just ask for 100 more million because Exor has it. Aldo saying, but that is speculative. The official reports will be released in 10 days. Nobody knows what the new evidence is. I'm sure FIGC knows. This is why they did what they did. I'm sure they know what happened. I'm sure they did their research. Again, I'm not backing the FIGC. I'm not backing the prosecutors. I'm not saying they're right to, or I want this to happen. I'm not saying that. But there's a reason why our board all left late November and now they're all banned. There's a reason why there's a reason why a penalty was said yesterday. The way they came to the final conclusion of it, I have no idea why. But There's a reason why there was a penalty yesterday based on new evidence. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Like the video, people. I know everyone's pissed off right now. I know it's all BS. Hold on. Give me 1 second as well. Hi, Sasha. How's it going? We'll go to Allegri's presser because this is even more BS from the club itself. The club made Allegri talk today. So this is what he said in his press conference. After yesterday, we have to pull ourselves together more, work with a low profile. We have to think only about the field. These judicial matters concern the club. There will be an appeal. The ranking is a given for the moment. We have 22 points, and tomorrow we have to go and try to win 25. What else is he going to say? This is crazy. I can't believe he was actually put up there today. What does he know? What does he know about what happened? Going on, he goes on to say, we have to do our duty. The final judgment will come in 2 months, which my point earlier in the show was, my point was, how do you compete? How do you compete? Or how do you go into a competition not knowing how many points exactly you have? So if we have 37 now, we say, hey, we're going to gun for top 4. We're going to take every game seriously, blah, 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 blah. But now we have 22. But then we could potentially have 15 more points by late or early March. How do you go into games like that? How do the players go and say, hey, yeah, it's a big game. Let's win this one. We're going to be right up there, top 4. This is a massive game, 6-pointer. Which normally Atalanta Juventus is a 6-pointer. So the fact that the coach is saying today in this press conference, we have 22 points is probably the right mindset. It is the right mindset because like you just go out and say, hey, we have to win every game if we're serious. At Juventus, we never play just to play because we have the pressure of having to win. We must continue to do our duty because the verdict is in 2 months and we have no regrets when the verdict is in. We must have no regrets. So that goes on to like say, don't give yourself any, don't give yourself any regrets. Trying to win as much as possible, and if you happen to get yourself back up to the top a bit, maybe you get the 15 points reduction off, and you get those 15 points back. It's hopeful on his part. That's what he's saying. Next one. All situations should be turned into an opportunity. This is an opportunity to have a season to get the fullest. Then we'll see how it goes. The team knows very well that what needs to be done. Nothing has changed for us. Absolutely. We need to have an inner strength and climb the rankings. Imagine being him. Imagine being, and now I'm going to say this, not tongue-in-cheek, but I'm going to say this. Imagine being a top coach like Max Allegri. Don't come at me saying he's not a top coach. For what it is, his career, his past career, for who he is, the stature, the club he's at, top coach. Imagine being a top coach and working yourself into a decent position in the table, and then 15 points come off because of stuff you had nothing to do with. And saying, yes, we need to just keep going on, and we're going to aim for the top 4 still. He was put into a shit. He was thrown under the bus today talking into this press conference. He is thrown under the bus. I feel bad for the guy in this situation. Still want him out, but I feel bad for this guy for today. We have the Europa League, we have the Coppa Italia, and we have 60 points or 60 league points to play for. The other day against Monza, 5 boys from the Juventus youth sector played. It means that we were doing a great job because the Italian league requires it of us. I thought that was a little shot at Serie A and how it all works, because there's no money being generated to fund the clubs and help fund the clubs so you can attract better players. So I thought that was a nice little dig, nice little jab at the league, the federation. But he's right. We're going to have to rely on kids now for the foreseeable future. We have 6 outgoing free agents. 6 players we can't make money on. Is this 6? No. No, I think it's 6 players that we don't have a say on for them leaving. So Paredes, Quadrado, Alexandro, Rabiot, Di Maria, and someone else. I forget the other person. So we need to fill up 6 spaces without, or probably by not buying anybody, because I don't know if we're going to be able to buy players. And we're going to need youth players to step up. So you can bank on Barbieri being a player for Juventus next year. Or like this year. Like he'll probably play a couple games this year. And as a club, as fans, people wanted that. But you're going to see soon that it's not. They talk about the club being sustainable based on having young players go into the. That's financially stable. Winning stable, no. That's not going to happen. We cannot win a league title or be competitive with 10 youth players. Or 10 players that came from the youth team. That's nonsense in my opinion. Moving on, I am the coach of Juve and I will remain the coach of Juve unless they send me away. Yeah, sure. In difficult times, you have to be good men in taking responsibility. When things are going well, we are all good. Just like that 8-game winning streak that came to a grinding halt when you got banged 5-1. Alejandro's almost convinced that Allegri's gone. And he's going to walk at the end of the season. When I saw, before yesterday, there was even, we were going to do a live yesterday, or we were going to do a podcast yesterday. And it was probably going to be about Zidane potentially coming to coach Juventus. Because L'Equipe reported that he wants nothing but Juventus. He rejected so many other jobs, and he's waiting for the Juventus job. And Conte wants to go back to Italy. It's been reported as well. And Max Allegri tried to walk in November as well, along with he's probably going to walk at the end of the year because he doesn't want to coach kids. That was our podcast. It was going to be about. So this quote from him is kind of funny. He's saying, "I am the coach of Juve, and I will remain the coach of Juve unless somebody sends him away." I think I agree with Alejandro, and I think he's going to walk at the end of the year. And I'm thinking this because, not just because of the potential bans that are going to happen, like even further, like not just the point ban, but also I can see a transfer ban coming. But I think he's walking regardless. I can see it. We'll go to the next quote. Oh, that's kind of small. I'm unable to analyze the severity. The only thing that is certain is that one must accept yesterday's ruling. I repeat, the club with the lawyers have already made the statement, and we'll get to that after I read this, have already made the statement. We have to be silent, very low profile, and do this challenge starting from 22 points. When the ruling came, I did this calculation of the points it would take to get to the Champions League. The average is there, and to get there, you need to do something extraordinary. Okay. It's funny that he did his calculations, but yesterday, the Juventus statement basically said, we did something wrong, but also the other teams that did something wrong were acquitted. Where is the justice in that? That was my interpretation of what Juventus' statement was. Um, that's a defeatist attitude. And Alejandro said this yesterday as well. He said, if you go into a court saying, what about this guy? And doing the whataboutisms, you're already guilty. Because you're basically saying, well, I'm doing it too. What about this guy? If you remember in Harry Potter, I don't know if anybody watches Harry Potter, and that Karkaroff guy, it was in the Goblet of Fire, when they're at court, and he was a Death Eater, and he was ratting on other people so he can get out of jail. And he ratted out on the Ministry of Magic's son, Barty Crouch. Like, Juventus, don't be Karkaroff. Go in there and say, we've done nothing wrong. If you're going to do something like that, if you're going to stand on the hill. Don't say, hey, what about Genoa, the team we did the dirty work with? What about Roma? What about these other teams? And Dominic saying it's a bit childish, pointing fingers at others. Yeah, that's it. So, I didn't like that statement yesterday, but I understand it because I know we did something wrong. It's obvious. Maybe they should have hushed a bit more and left it at that. And said, instead of saying, what about or why are only us, or why are only we being punished, they could have just said, we are going to do everything in our power to rescind this. I'd rather that. That's just my opinion, though. And finally, we have, well, the players and the management, whatever management's there right now. So Ferrero Rocher and Scanavino, they all got together today to talk about what happened. And here it is here. So this is Ferrero Rocher and Scanavino, and they're addressing the team. This is what something was said. In the face of injustice, we must be united and each do our own thing. Us defending the club in the appropriate venues, and you on the field getting points. Today, more than ever, you will represent millions of fans around the world. That's a great quote. I'm going to be honest. I like that. Short, sweet, and to the point. You do the talking on the field, we'll do the talking off the field, and we're going to represent all the fans that love us. Perfect. Short, sweet, to the point. Doing what we need to do. So, I like that quote. Or I like it if this was actually, I have no idea. It could be BS, but that's what reported, what was said. And then you had all the players after on Instagram, all of the other players who didn't post anything yesterday. Like you saw the Vlahovic Instagram post, you saw Chiesa's Instagram post. I tweeted this. I tweeted this afternoon. Excuse me. And I took a screenshot of Vlahovic's Instagram post and I said, I'm going to circle back to this post when Vlahovic is in a Premier League jersey or a Bayern Munich jersey July 2nd. Because I can't see that guy staying. But it is what it is. Like the video, people. There's 40 people in here. Now we're going to get on to Atalanta and Juventus. The real reason why we're here talking today. All the behind the scenes things that are happening off the field are kind of covering over the fact that Atalanta are probably going to whoop us tomorrow. Regardless of what happened off the field yesterday. Like, Atalanta scored 13 goals in the last 2 games, and they are almost firing on all cylinders now. Ademola Lookman is a good player. I think all the Juventus center backs are available, bar Bonucci. And I'll get to, actually, I'm going to go check if Romeo Agressi tweeted anything. Because if he did, then I can get you a more up-to-date lineup that I have. No, okay. There's too many things going off the field that he has to worry about. So I'm gonna talk about what's reported. It's the Brazilian backline. It's Bonucci or Danilo, Bremer, Sandro. And are we going to do a 4-3-3, an inverted 4-3-3? I'm not sure. But this has a midfield four of McKennie, Paredes, Locatelli, Kostic, and a front three of Di Maria, Chiesa, Milik. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening unless... what do I want to say here? Unless if it's a five at the back. That's what I want to say. And Di Maria is more of an attacking midfielder. Because the second half, or the latter part of the Monza game for the Coppa Italia, it was a 4-2-3-1. And McKennie was a right winger / right-sided player. Di Maria was an attacking midfielder. Chiesa was out on the left. And again, I don't know how exactly we're going to set up tomorrow. There's been no whispers whatsoever of what's going to happen. You can check the insiders, the sources on social media to closer to the game. But right now there's been nothing, obviously, because of the stuff off the field. But you could probably guess who Atalanta's starting 11 are because they've been doing so well. And there's been no injuries for them. Obviously, Duvan Zapata has a niggling injury. It's kind of there, but so they got Musso in goal, back three of Toloi, Palomino, and probably Demiral, unless he's not back from injury yet. Scalvini we know got injured during their Coppa Italia match against Spezia. Across the back line, midfield, they got Hattabor, Darun, Ederson, Ruggeri. So Joakim Miley is not even starting for them. And then up top, they got Pasalic, Adamola Lookman, and what's it called? Wish.com Holland. So Højlund, who's been absolutely awesome. If you guys join our Discord and become a member, I've been putting a lot of Højlund propaganda in that chat. I like it. I like this player. So yeah. Tien Koopmeiners is suspended for the match. Vlahovic and Pogba will not make the bench, even though we were told that they probably could have. And I think Cuadrado might not even make the bench. But again, we will find out tomorrow. More on that tomorrow. So yeah. So the league table is as it stands. It's they're fifth. So Atalanta's fighting for the top four. They're tied for that position. And we're chasing. We're chasing that right now. We're very far behind. But if you do beat Atalanta, you go to 25 points and they're stuck on 34. So that's a 9-point gap and there's still half the season to play. I'm not saying it's out of the question with half the season to play, especially with Fiorentina losing to Torino right now and all that stuff. But let's see how tomorrow goes, and you got to take this game by game. If you're thinking about getting into the top 5 or top 4, you got to go game by game. Do your job, get your 3 points, go to the next game. That's the way you got to approach the season. Dominique saying, but Alexander gets his 21st appearance. Yeah, you got to do everything possible to... you got to do everything possible to not let Alexandro renew his contract. That's interesting. Someone just put in from Plettyberg. United Fire saying, Thomas Tuchel does not consider Spurs a long-term option. His main goals are Real Madrid or Barcelona. However, Juventus also interest him, but not now. Oh, I think that came out yesterday. So Thomas Tuchel would be hilarious if we signed him. If we hired him and Allegri left, because they are almost the same. Except probably Thomas Tuchel demands a little bit more pressing and less pragmatism. But yeah, going back to Atalanta, they're very dangerous, high firepower. Like I said, Lookman is on another level this year. Totally different player from what he was in Germany. Højlund is wow, good player, 18 years old, strong, built like a brick shit house, scores goals. And then Pasalic, we know who Pasalic is. He contributes a lot of goals from midfield. They're dangerous again. They're dangerous again. We gotta be on the lookout. We're probably gonna concede a lot of possession again, and we're gonna try to hurt them on a counter, and that's what we're gonna do. Simple as that. Do I agree with how we play? No, I never have for a while now. But I just want 3 points. If you get 3 points tomorrow, then obviously it doesn't. If you get 3 points tomorrow, then what happened yesterday doesn't feel as awful. It's awful still, don't get me wrong. But if we lose tomorrow and just it adds more to the pressure and to the bullshit that's going to happen, I don't want to go through that. Yesterday was enough already. Just win tomorrow. Do whatever you need to do to win. Alejandro predicted a 2-1 victory. Or, no, he predicted a victory. I don't know what the score was again. I forgot. I don't know if he texted me either. But we're going to get to our predictions and hot takes later. Actually, very soon. In recent head-to-head matches, well, all time, previous 28 matches, Juventus have won 18 of those. They've drawn 7, and Atalanta have won 3. So usually, Juventus beat Atalanta, or at least they don't lose to Atalanta. Last season, we lost 1-0 on a Duvan Zapata goal that we gave to them, but we should have won that game. And then last season again, we got a 90th minute goal from Danilo to save a point. They're very leaky at the back. They concede more than a goal a game. They're quite leaky at the back, and but we know that. We know what Atalanta is. They dropped off a bit last year. They had a little bit of player personnel change, but now they're pretty much back to firing on how they were a couple years ago. I still think you should win the game tomorrow. The injuries we currently have are not enough to say, oh, we have no chance. So, there's that. Now we're going to get to the portion of the preview where we do our hottest takes. Our hottest takes. And there's 30 people in here, so let me know your hot take. A hot take is not, oh, Juventus is going to win. That is not a hot take. A hot take is picking some information about the game or about a player and saying it's probably not going to happen, but I have a feeling, and you explain why. So, as you guys ponder that in the chat, I'm going to say it's sponsored by our member group. This portion, or this segment of the show, is sponsored by our members. You become a member by clicking the link in the description, and you reach out to Alejandro if you want to join. Do I have the picture still? Oh, that looks ugly. Hold on. Boom. There you go. Become a member of our show, of our channel. Beautiful. And you can join the Prediction League as well. Okay, so Anas has a hot take. Anas saying we're going to lose 5-0 like Napoli. I can't use that as a hot take anymore because last week I was right, and it's not much of a hot take. Because, as I've said on the show for a while now, our games, when we play against progressively attacking teams, we usually concede 3 and 4 goals. Benfica, Napoli, that's pretty much it so far this season. Who we've played that are open and play free like that. And Atalanta is another team. So because it's at home, I don't think we're going to leak too many goals, but I think, well, I'm not going to give my score prediction, so I have to give my hot take first. Excuse me. Bianconeri 70 hot take. Juventus is the biggest team of all time. Yeah, you know it, Bianconeri 70. Good stuff. No, my hot take is that I believe one of our center backs will score the winning goal in the 80th minute on a corner from a set piece. Whether it's Bremer, whether it's Sandro, whether it's Danilo, one of them will score the game-winning goal in the 80th minute. That doesn't mean we're going to win one thing. You'll get to my prediction later. But Forza Juve saying tiki-taka in the back, playing like we are winning 5-0. Oh, no, he's talking about Tuchel. Forza Zidane says, or Forza Juve says Zidane wants Juve. That's what we went over a bit earlier. We'll talk about that in future lives. Because, whoa, that's a hot take. I love that, though. Let's throw it up there. Quasar Key is saying, hot take, we should play Gatti at holding midfield. I don't think he has the calmness to play that position. He has the long ball accuracy and long ball trait that he can dish out the ball very nicely. But I think his touch is not great. And I think he's not calm in there. So he might snap a leg too. So very hot from you, Quasar, but I don't agree. Dominique saying, I'm going 4-1. We'll get to the player. We might as well get to the predictions now, the score predictions. Get your score predictions in as well, and then we'll see where we stack up against each other. So Dominique saying, I'm going for 4-1. Our players have no pressure anymore. Napoli get put in spliff. Quasar says, I know, I'm just kidding, just referring to how Mark Goldridge received the question of how Maguire should be holding midfield. Oh my god. Horrible. Javi saying Juventus is going to destroy Atlanta. Okay. Atalanta. Oh, Atalanta getting put to this. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going for a 2-1 victory for Juventus. RB Comps loves my dog Boo. I don't know if you can hear him snoring, but he's snoring in my lap right now. I'm going 2-1 Juventus to win. Just because everything that's happened, they need to win. Or else it's just going to be another horrendous week being a Juventus fan. So basically I'm saying we're going to vibe out a win. For me. For my sake, at least. The goal scorers will be Angel Di Maria and one of the center backs. I'll be more specific. I'll say Bremer scores and Angel Di Maria for a 2-1 victory. Bremer scoring the winning goal in the 80th minute. That's my hot take. Aldo says, hot take, McKennie headers the winner from a corner. Okay. Quasar says 3-1 Juventus. It's time for a convincing win versus a top 7 opponent. We beat Lazio 3-0. We beat Inter 2-0. I get it. Javi says 5-2 Juventus win. Quasar saying Chiesa, Locatelli, Milik, and Lookman are his goal scorers. VP Bassmag is saying hot take, if Keane starts, he continues his goal scoring streak as a starter. I think it's a 5 in a row now. So I like that one. I like that one, actually. That's a good one. Forza Juve saying McKennie was man of the match against Monza. Maybe. I think he was very good. But I don't know if he was man of the match. Still made a lot of mistakes, but he was very good. I agree. So yeah. People, thank you for watching today. Like the video. It helps us grow as a channel. We're trying to get back into it now that the season's up and going, and we got past our problems. Whenever you get a chance, congratulate Justin because he's about to have another kid today, soon. I don't know if he's still here. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Follow bianconerizone on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at bianconerizone. And keep looking out for more updates about what's happening at the club behind the scenes. On the field, you can watch tomorrow, 2:45, 8:45 if you're in Europe. And yeah, Forza Juve, guys. We'll see you next time. Ciao.